Hello and welcome to another battle report. This is a 2,000 point match, Empire versus Ogre Kingdoms. We rolled up the Blood and Glory scenario. This is the first of two matches between me and Mike. The first one I played as Empire, he played as Ogres, and then we swapped them around and played a mirror match using each other's armies. The fortitude for this match is 7 versus 7, with the breakpoint being at 3. Here's a long angle shot of Mike's army. You can see he's got 2 Saber Tusks there on the left flank, with 3 Mornfang Cavalry with the Dragonhide banner and a musician, 10 Iron Guts with his BSB wearing the armor of silvered steel with a luckstone, 10 Ogres with the level 4 Slaughtermaster. You can see his spells that he has there. He's wielding the Fencer's Blade and has the Crown of Command, his Scrap Launcher, another Saber Tusk, and then an Iron Blaster. For my army, you can see the unit of Knights, 9 Inner Circle Knights with the Steel Standard. The Warrior Priest has a 1-up armor save, the Luckstone, and the Crown of Command. Then there's 24 Greatswords with a detachment of 5 Archers. The Greatswords have the Standard of Discipline. The Warrior Priest in that unit has the Iron Curse icon and a Dragon Helm. And then my General, the Shadow Wizard Lord, is a level 4 with a 4-up ward save. They deployed into that forest. The 40k section of it we just declared impassable, and we rolled it mysterious, and it turned out to be a venom thicket, so my guys are going to need to take dangerous terrain checks. Next to it you have the Hellblaster volley gun and 29 swordsmen with my Captain BSB with the armor of meteoric iron and a great weapon. To the right of that, the Hurricanum, 3 demigriffs with a musician. You can see the spells that I had on my wizard, and then 5 pistoliers. So here's what it looks like after I moved my guys out of the venom thicket. I had no charges to declare. I took a bunch of casualties from that, passed my panic check, and the skirmishing detachment of archers moved into the mysterious forest, and it's a fungus forest, so anyone who starts their turn there has to roll for stupidity. So here's what this side of the table looks like. For that hill, right in the upper left of this of the picture, you can see it has some sides that are very smooth, and it has some sides that are modeled as being very rocky overhangs. We determined that those would be scree slopes, which is a dangerous check, and then the open sides we'll just treat as open terrain. I also moved the pistoliers back and around. They are within 6 inches of the Saber Tusk for some shooting. Now in Empire Magic, I managed to cast large template Pit of Shades with irresistible force, and the Withering I had gotten off earlier, it doesn't really have a huge effect, but the Pit of Shades, of course, doesn't scatter, kills his BSB, his unit champion, and a boatload of ogres. However, they pass their panic. So that's what that unit looks like afterwards. The Withering, I believe, is -3 to their toughness. This will bring Ogre Fortitude down to 5 with the loss of the BSB. Pistoliers shoot and kill 1 Saber Tusk. The Hellblaster volley gun shoots, kills 1 Ogre. And the Bowman managed to put a wound onto the other Saber Tusk. In Ogre turn 1, he charges the bulls into the forest to attack the archers. Now, ordinarily, those archers are really there to do redirects and act as a chaff unit. But given how tightly I was deployed on that side with the terrain and stuff, I really just elected to hold and figured I'd hold them up a turn, so that on my turn I could probably assist and break them with all my units. He moved the wounded Saber Tusk up in front to stop up the knights. Here's a closer shot of what that looks like. And the other Saber Tusk moved to get in the way of the demigriffs. The Mornfang move up the hill, and the Iron Guts advance. In Ogre Magic, he gets Toothcracker off, so these are now Toughness 5 Ogres. And during Ogre shooting, he misfires with the Iron Blaster, and it explodes. In close combat, he kills the archers with, really no challenge, and they overrun into the Greatswords. So at the beginning of Empire turn 2, the board looks like this. I declare a charge with the demigriffs on the Saber Tusk. I declare a charge on the Iron Guts with the swordsmen, and I declare a charge on the Saber Tusk with my knights. He flees with the Iron Guts. I redirect into the side of the Bulls unit, and he elects to hold with both Saber Tusks. The Hurricanum moves up to support and give its aura to those 2 units in close combat. So it looks like this. The Pistoliers couldn't have charged the Iron Guts from their previous position, but now they're positioned. If they don't rally, I can run them down, or I can shoot at them, or something like that. So there's what that looks like. And I hadn't shown it earlier, but the miscast when I got Pit of Shades off put a wound on my Wizard Lord and killed a few more. During my magic phase, wasn't able to get much off, however I did get the 5-up ward save in close combat on the Greatswords. The Pistoliers put a wound on the Mournfang. And after combat, you can see that that I did quite a number on the Bulls unit. That's 12 wounds on Ogres right there. The way I resolved it was the Knights Saber Tusk combat I did first, and they killed it outright, and then I elected to overrun, which took them into the side of this combat, and since we hadn't fought it yet, the Knights get to fight twice in one turn. I issued a challenge with my captain. He accepted with the Slaughtermaster. Now, the Slaughtermaster is actually pretty tough. He's toughness 6 with the buff. He's got 5 attacks with the Fencer's Blades, and his weapon skill 10. So he actually manages to put a wound on my captain, but I put 2 wounds on him in return. I'm not really confident about this because the way gut magic works, the Slaughtermaster will be healing himself. I really did it to just take wounds out of combat resolution, but you can still roll ones, so not too pleased about my BSB getting injured. On Ogre's turn 2, the Mournfang charged Demigryphs, and I elect to hold, and the Scrap Launcher charges into the flank of the Swordsman. During his magic phase, through a combination of irresistible force and just good, good gamesmanship with what dice, with how many dice to use and all that jazz, he managed to get Bullgorger, Toothcracker, and Trollguts up on that unit of bulls in the forest. The miscast causes a wound to the Slaughtermaster, but on a successful cast, he heals himself. So it's actually pretty much a neutral move for them. But now these bulls are Strength 5, Toughness 5, and regenerating on a 4-up. The Scrap Launcher takes a wound through dangerous terrain on the charge. The Mournfang deal a bunch of wounds to the Demigryphs. They were charging down a hill. They have a standard. The Dragonhide standard is absolutely amazing. You're rerolling all ones on turns you charge. That's nasty. But he breaks the Demigryphs and runs them down. And in combat here, I cause maybe 2 wounds, if that. It's really disheartening. He kills a bunch, wins combat, and I hold. So here's another shot of that. The Scrap Launcher comes in, the gangbusters. It kills a bunch to impact hits, and then the Noblar Scrappers also actually managed to put some wounds on that unit. On Empire turn 3, the Hurricanum declares a charge and kind of wedges itself into that open area there. The Iron Guts had previously rallied, and the Pistoliers put themselves in between that with the intention to just keep them from joining that combat. Now, I'm still thinking like in 7th edition, and Pistoliers have 360 line of sight because they're fast cap. I don't think that's actually true anymore, so I'm going to have to start facing them in a direction I want them to face for shooting. But I believe they shoot at the Iron Guts. They have unlimited free reforms as fast cap, but I just got to start remembering that just to keep my rules consistent. Here's a close-up of what that looks like after the Hurricanum manages to get in there. And the Pistoliers. That was a frustrating combat. He does significant casualties to the Greatswords unit now that they're no longer protected by the 5-up board save. I actually had put all my magics. I rolled very low on the Winds of Magic. I put it all into Occam's Mindrazor, and I failed to cast it. He kills my BSB in the challenge. He causes a ton of wounds to the Greatswords. The Swordsmen are, the Warrior Priest and the Knights unit makes them stubborn. The Greatswords are always stubborn. The Swordsmen are usually steadfast due to ranks, but you can't be steadfast in a forest, so they actually have to test on a very bad check. They fail it with no BSB to give them a reroll. They then break, and they're run down by the Scrap Launcher, who's not, stuck in close combat with anybody else. Absolutely brutal. That Empire is on the ropes. I'm down 1 point of fortitude from losing the Swordsman standard and 2 from losing my BSB. After stomps and all that is done, all I have left in the Greatswords unit is the is the standard bearer, my general, and the warrior priest. I think the unit champion died to stomps or something like that. I forget what the story was with that. The Iron Guts charge into the Pistoliers. They stand and shoot again because I think they have 360 vision. Turns out they don't, so in the future I'm going to have to start facing them the right way. Launcher reforms to face the combat again, and the Mournfang had taken some casualties from the Hellblaster, but they're still up with their standard bearer still alive. So now he's positioned to charge my volley gun. However, during close combat, the Slaughtermaster puts all of his attacks on the general with the intent to kill him. He whiffs. I think one wound gets through, and I save it with the ward save. The regular ogres fail to put any wounds, and I issue a challenge with the warrior priest and the knights unit to keep the unit champion's attacks from going on the greatswords unit. So I actually end up winning combat. He's stubborn, leadership 8, and he fails. And the knights pursue. They run them down, and the game's over. Ogres fall to Fortitude 2 below the breakpoint, and victory for the Empire. I was on the ropes pretty much for the whole last turn. That turn of magic buffs for the ogres really turned things around. I had actually played pretty poorly with my magic spells the last couple turns. I just kind of went for broke trying to get Mind Razor off with the intention of doing it that way. If I played a little more intelligently, I don't think it would have been quite as to the wire. But Mike played a great game, and kudos to him for not wanting to throw in the towel after losing the Iron Blaster and his BSB and all that stuff like turn 1. Stay tuned. I'm going to upload another video battle report, or another battle report, which will be the mirror match we played, in which I played as the Ogres and Mike played as the Empire. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and take it easy.